Yeah, good afternoon, and look, thanks for joining us here today for an update on the local state of emergency that's been declared both here in Otorohanga and also Waipa. With me I've got Superintendent Scott Gemmell, who is the District Commander. I've got Tony, who is the Controller here in Otorohanga. We've got David Brown, who is the Assistant FENS Commander, who has been on the ground and involved in the operations over the last couple of days. Of course, our Mayor, Rodney Dow, and Deputy Commissioner, Jill Rogers, who also happens to be a local. So good to have her on the ground here with us as well. Obviously, everyone has seen that Otorohanga received an enormous amount of rain in a very short period of time. It's consistent with what we've seen as a country with these very localised thunderstorms that come in and hit suddenly. They're very hard to predict. It's very hard for the Met Service and scientists to be able to predict exactly where they are going to strike. And obviously, in this case, it's Otorohanga that has been impacted heavily. I want to acknowledge all of the first responders. I want to acknowledge the council staff. Again, iwi and hapu have stood up, and the community have had a strong response as well. As of right now, there's still a lot of work being done around assessments and where the greatest need lies, although we do know that we've got some in the rural community that are cut off and will require support. We've got people still out of their houses, houses that have been flooded. The local school here has been hit very heavily with floods, the local museum, and there's a lot of work underway at the moment in terms of the response. But of course with a big focus, strong focus on the recovery and what needs to be done. Of course I'm here because I want to identify clearly what we need to be doing at central government to either surge support in or get ready, both in the response and the recovery phase. And with that, I'll hand over to the Mayor and then Tony to make some comments. Rodney.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, or Minister Mitchell. Yeah, we've been on a bit of a drive around this morning talking to a few locals. One of us, who's a bit older than me, he was here in 1958. He said it's a higher, the water's higher this year than before. It's quite there's a lot happening. We've got a surge of people coming in to help us now, which is great, from government agencies and everything. But yeah, so just bear with us locally. We're all getting a bit tired, but thanks to God, I've never been so emotional in my life. Sorry about that. But yeah, so just thanks to everyone that's coming in to help our district. We'll get there. We'll get some skip bins and stuff and clean up and hope the rain goes away. I was really looking forward to mowing my lawns this afternoon. I plugged my electric battery in for my lawnmower to get it going, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to because it's bloody raining. But hopefully. But yeah. But thanks everyone for coming. We've got Jill's old school. That was the one that got flooded. So yeah, and but anyway, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean you can see the emotion obviously in the community because they have lost someone in the floodwaters from the local community here. Tony, can I ask you to come forward and give an update?
Sure, thank you, Minister. So I'd like to acknowledge first of all the loss of life and a heartfelt condolences go out to that family. I'd like to acknowledge the Minister for stepping up and offering of support. We are working together with the Regional Council as our group emergency management office, and here in the Western Waikato we have 3 councils that work together. So we are working with Waipa conjointly under one emergency operations centre. It is quite a complex response because it covers various different areas. We've got some evacuations happening. We've got a couple of isolated communities. And I guess just in terms of a couple of key messages, so we do have reports of people going through some blocked roads. If we just ask, please, the cones and the notices up for a reason. It's unsafe, particularly if you're going across bridges where they are blocked. We don't want you to move in those. Don't assume that the roads are safe, so drive with caution. The Regional Council is getting geotech up in the air shortly, and they'll be doing a geotech assessment, a landslide assessment. So we haven't quite got situational awareness of that at the moment. The other thing too, if anyone has any reports on the ground of things they'd like us to know about, go through Waipa District Council or Otorohanga District Council main website. That will come into our EOC and we'll be able to triage it and respond. We're not monitoring social media. So if you're putting things on social media and expecting a response, please go to our websites. Thanks.
Yeah, good one. Thanks, Tony. And David, do you want to?
Yeah, currently FENZ has just moved into a supporting operation, both on the ground and EOC, in supporting our partner agencies and the EOC itself. Thank you.
Thanks, David and Scott.
Kia ora koutou. Just want to acknowledge our mayor, and you can feel the emotion that he is going through representing this district and neighbouring district here in Waikato as well. We are here as part of this interagency response, committed, and we have you can't hear it, but there's a diligent group of people next door that are working tirelessly in this response. 4 key messages from us. During these daylight hours, this is the time, please, to prepare. Do everything that you can in order to keep yourselves safe. Where you can, please stay off our roads. Some of these showers that are coming through persistently are isolated, so although it may look okay where you are, it could only be just down the road where our roads are very vulnerable. So please be safe. If you need to get on the roads, be very careful as you're driving. And the last thing, if you do need help, please do not hesitate to call us. We have a dedicated team of people here that are out on the roads ensuring that our community are safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you, and go to any questions.
Minister, from what you've had a little tour this morning, from what you've seen, how bad is the damage across this district?
Oh, it's very localised and intense, but yeah, houses that have been flooded. Obviously, residents have been evacuated and out of those. The school, substantive damage to the school, flood damage to the school, and we've got education personnel on the ground today assessing that. And like I said, I stopped by the local museum, which is a real source of pride here in Otorohanga, and they have been hit quite hard as well.
And the roading network, how's that holding up?
Yeah, so like Scott was saying, is that please continue to check on the Civil Defence website in terms of roads and access. Stay off the roads that are closed. Yes, there's been damage to infrastructure, and there's assessments going on there at the moment in terms of trying to get that reinstated and back up and running as quickly as we can.
Minister, about State Highway 39, could we talk about that, please? Because that was where the fatal drowning of the person in the car happened, and also we have seen videos online of a large crack on that highway and a ute that fell into the crack.
Yeah.
Do we know about that incident? Could
Yeah,
you tell us a
so,
bit more about that?
obviously significant damage to State Highway 39. And the good news is that the vehicle, the ute that went into that crack, the occupant is safe and sound. I'm not going to talk into too much detail about that. I'd rather pass back to David on that. His team was quite simply doing an outstanding job with the swiftwater rescues and the support that was being provided to the community during that flooding event.
We know that State Highway 39 was closed between Pirongia and where that incident happened, the fatal incident happened yesterday, but today the closures have extended to across the entire stretch between Pirongia and Otorohanga. Why was that decision made? Have you guys found very severe damage?
Well, those decisions like that will be made as a precaution while there are still assessments ongoing to make sure and establish that actually the entire road network is safe, and those assessments are ongoing. They are happening at the moment.
Minister, I know it's very early on, but how is the government going to respond with help for the locals?
Yeah, so initially I've got the Meal Relief Fund, so I've already spoken about that with Rodney. The reason why he's laughing is because I almost left my wallet in his ute this morning when we were out having a look at the damage, which he quite liked. But the reality of it is that we'll get I'll get money straight out to both Waipā and Otorohanga through the Meal Relief Fund. That's for very short-term immediate needs. And the rest of it is an ongoing assessment. We've had an updated call with all the government agencies on that this morning in terms of now getting through the assessments and figuring out what central government needs to do moving from the response into the recovery phase.
The Met Service says that east of the country could get hit by bad weather again later tonight or tomorrow. Are you concerned and worried about that?
Oh, absolutely. We've got to continue to be vigilant. So councils they've stood up EOCs, they're pre-positioning people. You heard both David and Scott, the police and FENZ have been quite simply outstanding and anticipating where the need is going to be, and also getting that into areas that may be cut off from support. We've done that up on the East Coast with both Hicks Bay and Te Aroa, making sure that when we knew that weather system was coming through, that all the services and support they were going to need were already pre-positioned and in place. So we're watching that weather very, very closely. Some of it has moved, the head of that weather system has sort of moved offshore a bit, but the tail is going to come back round and could hit particularly Hawke's Bay and Wairau quite hard. So we're obviously watching and monitoring that very closely and making sure that we're prepared.
You did mention earlier that there are members of the community that are cut off. Are they safe and well?
Yes, they are. So the welfare team's doing an outstanding job to make sure that people are there's constant contact with them. Want to do a shout out to our rural trusts and MPI that are working very hard with staying connected with our rural communities and farmers that are cut off. So yes, there's a big focus and a lot of work going on in that area.
Could we have some more details about where those communities are in the Waipā and the Otorohanga district, those cut-off farmers and cut-off communities, where are they concentrated?
Yes, so I'm going to hand back to Tony, who can give you the specific information on that.
Thank you. So we have evacuations from QQ Station Road in Otorohanga. We have some isolated communities in Arapuni in Waipā district, and there's some emerging intel we're getting around Aotea, which is on the Otorohanga coast, cut off but self-sufficient. So it's one of those, I guess, dynamic situations where we're getting information coming through, and as the Minister said, our welfare team are in contact with people and we're making sure that they're safe.
When you mentioned QQ Station Road, we know that people were evacuated on Saturday early morning when the flood waters were rising. So we knew about that, but are there any more evacuations that are going to happen?
On QQ Station Road?
Well, elsewhere or in the area?
Potentially we have in Waipā, we have a community there that is isolated, but all the information we have is that they are safe and they don't have any needs at the moment. Also Phillips Ave in Otorohanga, of course, we had some people there evacuated. Their houses were inundated. So it's one of these things where we're getting information coming through, and as we receive it, then we respond at the time.
The Waipā community that's isolated, where exactly are they?
So they are near Arapuni, out the eastern side of the district.
And earlier you said that Geotech will be making assessments to get an overview picture of the landslides and the slip situation. Is there any information you can give us now about what you know as of now? Of the overall, how many slips, where are they focused? Those areas closed? So
as you can imagine, across both districts, there's quite a widespread, information gap that we have around that. So that's the reason the regional council has offered to help us, and that's part of what they do, working together with us. So they'll be getting some geotechnical experts in the air and doing an aerial analysis, and from there we'll be able to identify any specific areas of risk.
Minister, can I ask you what your plan is for the rest of your days over here?
Yeah, good question. So at this stage, I'm evaluating whether or not I drive over to Wairau today, because I am quite worried about the tail of that weather coming through. Big focus on State Highway 2, because if we lose State Highway 2, and we have a history of losing that road, it effectively means that Wairau and Gisborne and Tairāwhiti are cut off. Because we've got controlled movements at the moment through the Waiwika Gorge, and obviously the East Cape Road is closed with some major damage up there as well. So,
are you quite concerned about those areas with what you know about the weather coming in there?
Yeah, I am. But like I said, the mayors, the councils, the controllers. The first responders, sadly they're experienced because they've had to deal with previous weather events. So I think that being well prepared, being pre-positioned, and making sure that we get the strongest response possible is the priority. And I'm very confident with the work that I'm seeing, the calls that I'm on, and the expertise of all those people responsible for that we're in a very good position to be able to deal with that weather when it comes through.
And last question from me, Minister. Do you have any words for people in these communities?
I think, just reiterate Scott's messaging, and the reality with these weather events is that there's got to be some personal responsibility. Trust your own danger sense. If you're not sure, you think you need to move to somewhere safer, just do that. Especially do it in daylight hours. Don't wait till night time, because then it becomes much more difficult, and then it puts first responders in harm's way. So just make those early decisions. Have a grab bag ready to go, and the other thing that I'd say is, please avoid floodwaters at all costs. They are dangerous. They may not look it, but they are. They've got there's submerged wood and debris in there. You can often underestimate the actual flow and the strength of that of those floodwaters. So just do all that you can to avoid and stay out of floodwaters. The last point, of course, is follow the advice of our first responders, because that advice is put in place there just purely and simply to keep people safe. But I'm really proud of us as a country of, without a doubt, the best response is whole of society. And everywhere that I go when we're dealing with these weather events is that communities are responding, the rural sector responds, iwi and hapu are there, we've got world-class first responders, and we've got great leadership coming out of local council and regional council.
Just one last question from me for FENZ. I'm just wondering, do you have an overview of how many reports of people trapped in vehicles trapped in water across Waipā and Aotearoa over this past weekend?
No, I don't currently have that information at hand. I'm sorry to say.
Right. Were there quite a few rescues?
So we supported the rescue effort within the Aotearoa area. There was some scattered rescues done in other districts or other brigade areas, but the main focus was within the Aotearoa district, in which we brought specialist teams in to support that.
How are those first responders doing?
They're doing great. We do have some high impact, which we're wrapping some support around, but fatigue-wise, they're managing that. Yes.
And Mia, sorry to ask this, but the man who died that we know about, is there any information you can share with us about, were they a local of Aotearoa town or Pirongia?
I don't know a lot. I just know he's an older guy, and I used to mow people's lawns around, just an everyday Kiwi, and probably just trying to get home, I suppose, and but I don't know the guy personally, but condolences to his family. But I mean, I know some people that have used him to mow their lawns, so that's obviously one of his occupations he did. So just a Kiwi, just like all of us. Please stay out of the floodwaters, eh? Please stay out of the floodwaters. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Okay.